Hi, I'm Christina Heideck with PTO Answers, and today we're going to talk about something super important, and that is what your PTA or PTO should actually be paying for. And I'm also going to tell you about some things that you should definitely be zipping up the wallet and not paying for, because it could get you into trouble, especially if you're a 501c3. So I tell you this information because a lot of groups are asking about this. When budgets kind of get disrupted, schools might be looking to PTOs to fill in the gap or some of the gaps, and some of the ways that they might be asking for money are something you definitely should fund, and some things you're just going to want to pump the brakes on a little and really check out to see if you legally can do it, or whether it should be something funded by the school. So I think it's a very timely topic to talk about. So let's just get into some of the things that you should feel really good about paying for. So first, primarily, you need to be able to fund things that actually go to running your PTA or PTO. So like operationally, so office supplies that you might need, especially now if you can't get into the school building, but you're still sending home flyers and you need to print at home. Maybe who's ever in charge of your flyers can, purchase a little ink cartridge for them to use, so that they aren't paying to print everything themselves. That's one option. Another option, or another area that is covered by PTA or PTO operations, are like things that you need for meetings. So like hospitality, if you want to throw out some chocolate or get some cookies for the event to kind of entice more people to come, that is definitely something that you can cover in your PTO budget. See me up here, sorry. There we go. Now that's out of the way. You should see I have this hooked up to my curtain rod. My phone's dangling from the curtain rod. So the other thing you should definitely feel good about paying that falls under PTO operations are guides and resources to help you run your group, and including so many of the guides that I offer in my shop. And this isn't a pitch for those guides, but you should feel okay about paying for them. I always tell people that what the tools that you need to do your PTO job should not be paid for by you personally. They should really come out of your PTO budget. And so resources like the treasurer's finance manager, you're going to be paying, or, that's something you need to have a tool to manage your group's money. So of course someone shouldn't personally be bankrolling that particular operation of the PTO. That should be coming out of the budget. Same with other resources that kind of teach you or guide you through the process of being a PTO volunteer or leader, like things that are going to make your life easier, such as like the President's Success Kit and the Membership Master Plan, stuff like that. All right, the next area that you should, definitely be like funding and not a problem for are leadership development and conferences. So like the National PTA puts on conventions every year. They have a state convention, they have a national convention. If you're a PTA, definitely should be budgeting for those things and sending someone, because the value that the member who goes will, like, everything that they're going to absorb and all the leadership training that they're going to get during that event is going to make your group better. So you should be paying for that. Student and family events and programs, of course your PTO should be paying for that. So you want to think about things like carnival or fall festival or an art show, like anything that goes into putting those events on, either like food, decorations, publicity, the cost for printing up flyers, all covered. Same with school enrichment programs for kids, like maybe you're bringing in a dance troupe or the traveling museum. Of course you should be paying for that. Same thing with parent enrichment. Now, I know a lot of people want to bring in speakers to meetings to like really educate parents. In the past, my PTA has brought in speakers about internet safety, And also vaping, very important issue. If you want to pay a little honorarium to the speaker, give them a little gift, that should be covered by your PTO. It should not be coming out of the volunteer who's in charge of getting those speakers lined up. It should not be coming out of their pocket. All right, sometimes it takes a little money to make money. So fundraisers, look, couldn't even see that, I don't know why. Fundraisers are another area that your PTO should feel great about paying for. Like, you're gonna have to do some publicity. You're definitely gonna have to pay for some incentives or prizes to get students excited about participating in the fundraiser. So that's not a problem at all. Similarly, it also sometimes takes a little bit of money to get people interested in joining the PTO in the first place. So if you are doing an event like at the beginning of the school year or over the summer that brings parents together and you want to pay for refreshments, or again, copying costs to distribute flyers around your community about the event, again, pay for those. Legislative activities such as like campaigning for or producing brochures that support school levies, or additional legislation in your either your local or state or even national level that deal with kids' health and welfare, that's really falls squarely under your mission as a PTO. So those are things you should pay for. And then I have two other areas that are really important, and that is teacher appreciation and volunteer appreciation. If you want to give something small to those teachers and volunteers who have given back to the PTO and made your life as a PTO easier, then I think that's a really smart and acceptable use of funds. And the last area that you should definitely be funding, I think this is a great reason to raise money, is for student scholarships. So even if your school is an elementary school, you can still totally pay for senior scholarships when they graduate from high school, or when they're a senior. Then they can, if they went through your school, then they can apply for your scholarship program. That's a nice little program that my PTAs run, and we give anywhere between, I think, 12 and 15 scholarships a year. So that's a really nice way to give back to the community, and is a nice selling point for why people should get involved with your fundraisers. So it's a twofer. All right, what are some things that you should not be paying for that are going to get you into trouble? Either if you are a 501c3, this will get you into trouble, or just are not good things because it is exceeding your mission as a PTO. So the biggest thing, and this is my big pet peeve, but others agree with me. I'm not just taking a stand on this all solo up on my soapbox. You should never be paying for staff or teacher salaries or continuing education. Like, if the program can only exist if you pay for it, like if that's the only way you're going to have an art teacher, you should not be paying for that, because then you're giving the school district, there's no reason for them to ever pay for it if you're just going to come in and step in. You as parents need to advocate for your children and need to demand that you have an art program, and just not accept it and just say, well, then you need to put a levy on the ballot or get additional school funding, however it's done in your area. Same thing goes with like basic maintenance or supplies that are needed for school. So you as a PTO should not be paying for copier paper for all the teachers. If you want to pay for copier paper for your PTO business, yes, that's a good thing, because you don't want to take away from the school budget for that. You should be self-funding that portion of your communication, outreach, and efforts. But you should not be paying to put pens in every classroom. You should not be paying for smart boards. That's kind of like a basic, and now they're moving away from smart boards, but I'm just using it as an example of a basic need that most classrooms really need and really handy. And it goes beyond just being nice to have, because as I've seen in classrooms that have them, the kids really enjoy them, and it just adds a different element, to a tactile element to the educational process. But your PTO has really no business paying for those. The last thing that you should be really careful about and probably avoid altogether are donations to other associations. Especially if you are a 501c3, you cannot be giving money to a non-501c3. Like, you need to be spending money in line with your mission. And you are, as a PTO, you are raising money to go back into your schools, to go back to benefit the students and the families at your schools. You're not supposed to be giving money away to other fundraisers. Like, that's beyond the scope. And if parents on the PTO feel called to the mission of the other organization, then they are free to donate independently out of their own pockets and really like leave PTO out of it, because the PTO funds should be reserved for the benefit and enrichment of the students and the school. And that's kind of it. So I ran through a lot of information, and I've done a blog post about this before, so I have linked to that in the description. So if you want more details on some of the areas that I talked about, and you're like, I'm not so sure I know what she's talking about, go check it out. It's at PTOanswers.com/funds, I do believe. And if I got it wrong, it will be down in that description, so check that out. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like so other people might see it too. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like the PTO Answers Facebook page or the PTO Answers YouTube channel, because this video is going to be both on both platforms eventually. So that is it for today, and I will be back to talk with you about another hot PTO topic real soon. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.